Well, most of you know about the General Motors 6.2-liter L87 recall, but there is a good, bad, and now ugly to this story. Let's start out with the good news for those that might have good engines. Let's jump into GM Authority's article on this. So again, starting out with the good news, GM, this is coming in from GM Authority, GM 6.2-liter L87 recall, good engines to get extended warranty coverage. So if you're not sure of the details of this recall, I'll go through those in a minute, but we're going to jump to this just because this is the most interesting thing in the article. Vehicles impacted by the recall will be inspected by authorized GM technicians. If either of the manufacturing defects are detected, the engine will be replaced. For vehicles that pass inspection, you'll be given 0W40 Mobil 1 supercar oil, as well as a new fill cap. Everybody knows that. And they say engines that pass inspection will also receive new special coverage program that extends the warranty protection for 10 years, 150,000 miles from the vehicle's in-service date, whichever comes first. And the biggest bummer here is that they say, meanwhile, vehicles that receive a new engine replacement, so if they see that you've thrown some codes or they find metal in your oil, whatever makes them want to replace your engine, you will not be given any extended coverage. So let's say you're at 50,000 miles on your 6.2 liter, you get a new engine. At 60,000 miles, that new engine is out of warranty. So I like being fair on this channel. So kudos to GM for extending the warranty on those that aren't affected or don't have a dead engine yet. They're not going as far as Toyota did and replacing everyone's engines with crate engines. A lot of that has to do with the fact that GM sold a lot more trucks than Toyota. So I highly doubt Toyota would have replaced, 700,000 engines or 500,000 or whatever it was either. It's just that the Tundra, when they had this problem, very similar problem with bearings in the engine and contaminants, they all say the same thing. When Toyota had that problem, they replaced half of them. They still haven't replaced the hybrid owners. So really, between like Toyota, General Motors, Ford, they kind of all handle these things the same. Everybody thinks that one manufacturer is better than another. They really aren't. You're going to be blown away by this, though. The recall data and the investigation in the recall actually is very telling on kind of where their heart is. And when we dig into the actual recall data from NHTSA, there are a couple things that bug me. They say things like manufacturer records were used to determine the vehicles equipped with the 6.2-liter V8 built within the suspect manufacturing window. That tells me that they're still suspecting a window based on just the investigation and the data they've seen. This is why they are ruling out the 2019s and 2020s, and they're ruling out the 2025s. I still personally think, this is just my opinion, I think they're ruling out the 2025s because they don't want to have a stop sale on them, and they want to continue to be able to sell them. And then if they have a problem with the 25s, they'll just extend the recall later. That's my guess. That's why they use language like suspect manufacturing window. And it's also CYA, lots of lawyering things going on. So in their description, they say the engine teardown analysis identified two primary root causes, both which are attributed to supplier, manufacturer, and quality issues. Number one, rod bearings damaged from sediment on connecting rods and crankshaft oil galleries. And two, out-of-spec crankshaft dimensions and surface finish. Those are two pretty big issues, if you ask me. And one thing that bugs me is a lot of YouTubers and people out there just dismiss this, and they're always like, well, it's the supplier's fault. Well, guess who chose the supplier? That would be General Motors. They are responsible, which is why they're being forced to take responsibility here. But when people just pawn things off and say, well, it wasn't us, it was the manufacturer. Like, let's be honest. If you can't trust manufacturers to make bearings for us, like Toyota, GM, why don't they just start making their own bearings? If you can't trust these companies to do it for you, maybe you should bring that stuff in-house so we don't have these problems. Oh, and this is the part that I love most about this recall. See, everybody calls me out. A lot of other YouTubers call me out and say, oh, it's 39. It was only 39. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. GM's investigation identified 28,102 field complaints or incidents in the U.S. potentially related to the failure of the L87 engine due to crankshaft connecting rod or engine bearing failure, of which 14,332 involved allegations of loss of propulsion. So that means you're driving along, your engine shuts off, and you better figure out where to go quick, or you could get hit by someone, cause an accident. That's pretty crazy. And here's the worst part to me, and this is really damning for GM. The field complaints were received between April 29th, 2021 and February 3rd, 2025. GM identified 12 potentially related alleged crashes and 12 potentially related alleged injuries. So from 2021, they were receiving these reports, and just now they're starting this recall. Let that sink in a little bit. See, everybody's giving them kudos for this extended warranty. Fine. But they knew about this in 2021. I see lawsuits coming. I mean, this is crazy. And the fact that they're putting this information out there as an investigation, this seems to me like, gosh, you've got all the data and you kept producing these engines. And apparently with the same manufacturer for the bearings from 2021 on, just saying, who cares who buys these trucks? Hey, we've known about this for a couple of years. We're going to keep putting these bearings in them. That's what I see here. That's the way I read it. There's no way. There should have been stop sales when they started figuring this out and they had crashes already. There should have been stop sales. Safety it's just not a big enough deal if it's a small enough number of people. Look, if one person dies and it's your family member, it's going to be a big deal. They do go on to say all specifically alleged injuries were minor or non-physical, which that's good, and most were not crash related. They go on to say the causation of these incidents is unclear and the alleged fire damage is contained to the engine compartment and consistent with the damage that can occur in rare instances during engine failure. So apparently someone had an engine failure or an engine on fire from this issue. On April 17th, 2025, that's when GM Safety Field Action Decision Authority decided to conduct a safety recall. I think they were pushed to do that by NHTSA. That's my guess. I mean, that is a heck of a lot of failures. Now, a lot of people are posting about this video. So the Motor Oil Geek, if you don't follow him, he actually has a fantastic channel, does a ton of scientific evidence on, which oils to use. So he says, stop following OEM oil advice. Basically, he's had this on his channel for a long time. He wants you to use 30 weight oil or higher to protect your engine. And he kind of discusses the GM recall. It's a very long video, 19 minutes. So I suggest you go watch that. I'll link to it in the description. But this will help for you GM owners out there that have the 6.2, that maybe you got it inspected and you're not on the list to get a new engine, but you're getting that extended warranty. I would use this oil. Definitely use the 40 weight oil as suggested. And it is shown to have a lot less wear in your engine over time with oil analysis. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below, do any of you use the 0W20? I have a Toyota 5.7. I've got 236,000 miles on it. I've used 0W20. The previous owner used 0W20. I haven't had really any issues, but I'm probably going to switch to 30 or 40 weight, probably 30. Just because of a lot of oil analysis and people finding more metal in their oil when it's 0W20. Now, if you replace your oil like I do, maybe every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, I think it's less of an issue. I haven't had any problems with 0W20 in the vehicles that have called for it for me, but these were all pre-2020. So, I think there's something to, we had these COVID suppliers right around 2020 after the COVID supply chain issues. You're just seeing all sorts of bearing issues in all manufacturers. And I think that could be what's going on here, is just cheaper bearings, not made to spec like you're seeing in these field analysis reports from General Motors and Toyota. They all talk about debris in the engine, but they're also talking about the bearing analysis and things being out of spec. So I think the COVID supply disruption really screwed us up. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you run 0W20, 30, 40? If you had this 6.2, maybe a lot of you in the comments do have this 6.2 liter, are you going to keep it outside of warranty? I mean, I think I would. If I owned one of these and it passed inspection, I was running a better oil in it, I think I would want to keep this to 150,000 miles. It's kind of like, you get that free length of a warranty, which all manufacturers really should be warranting to 100,000 now anyway. And what do you think about the timeline? I mean, General Motors knew about this in 2021. That's the ugly part of this story to me, the really ugly part of this story. When you know about something, and I realize you can't change, it's not like you can just change products or change your supplier for your engine bearings, but you sure as heck can stop sale. And they'll do anything in their power to not stop sale, even if it means potentially putting people in harm's way. And that's not just GM, that's really all manufacturers, which is pretty sad to think that they knew about this for that long of a period and they're just now being pressured into a recall. Let me know your thoughts. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.